Imagine that you're in a coffee shop. The rich smell of freshly brewed coffee all around you, the quiet chatter of the people next to you, the soft clicking of a keyboard, and the soft sound of music in the background. You sit at your table drinking your favorite coffee as you pore over the book spread out on the table in front of you. There's no place quite like a coffee shop, is there? No place that can provide that same experience. Well, people have been experiencing this atmosphere for hundreds of years, and will continue to for many more. I'm Emma Boothby, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the history of coffee shops, the coffee shop industry today, and finally, what we can see for the future of coffee shops. We'll first start with the history of coffee shops. Now, it is believed that coffee was first founded in the 11th century and that the first coffee shop came to be a few hundred years later in the Near East. Now, back then, coffee shops were typically used by those looking for a place to study or discuss philosophy or politics. Now, they were also called the schools of the wise. Now, by the 17th century, coffee had come to Europe and America, and it quickly gained popularity in both places. The BJU Press United States history book says that after the Boston Tea Party, coffee was a favorite American drink. Now, fast forward to the 1950s, and coffee consumption had reached an all-time high at 3.5 cups per person daily. Now, this was due to the increase of instant coffee. It was cheap, simple to make, and could be done at home. But while the coffee consumption was high in the 50s, the coffee shop industry was actually struggling. Now, James Lyon states in his article, Think Seattle Act Globally, that in the 60s in Northern California, people had become more concerned with freshness and handcrafting. People wanted the same quality in their coffee. Now, by 1971, Starbucks had opened their first location in Seattle, Washington. And the coffee culture that had developed there in Seattle spread across the nation. Now, Starbucks, as well as the other popular coffee shops in Seattle, had played a huge role in revitalizing the struggling coffee shop industry. Now, as I've shown, coffee shops have been immensely popular since their founding hundreds of years ago. The founding of Starbucks, however, has played the main role in creating the coffee culture we have today. Now, it's not difficult to find a coffee shop. It seems as though there's one on almost every corner, and there's 19 different locations in Amarillo alone. Now, according to the Small Business Development Center, there are 35,000 coffee shops in America, and coffee shops make $45 billion in sales annually. Now, Paul Paquin writes in his book, Functional and Specialty Beverage Technology, that coffee is the most widely consumed beverage in the world. And studies have shown that in America, approximately 1/3 of the tap water that Americans consume daily comes from their coffee. Now, as you can see, coffee and coffee shops play a huge role in our culture today, and will for many centuries. And although there are numerous products on the market that challenge the coffee shop industry, we will continue to see growth in the coffee shop industry. PRNewsWire.com claims that the coffee shop industry will grow by 4.2% over the next few years. The coffee shop's biggest competitor is ready-made coffee, which is canned or bottled coffee that comes in the refrigerated section of the supermarket. Now, Jeff Daniels, a writer for CNBC, states that the ready-to-drink coffee market is growing at a very, very strong rate, and one of the fastest growing non-alcoholic beverages in general. Now, the growth in this area of the coffee industry clearly has an effect on the coffee shop industry. However, we know that coffee shops will be around for a long time because there is one thing that coffee shops have that ready-made coffee won't have. Now, to conclude, go back in your minds with me for a moment to the scene we set up earlier. You're sitting in a coffee shop, sipping on your coffee and studying. What is it that makes that so enjoyable? Is it that you're drinking your favorite coffee? Maybe. But more than that, it's the experience. That's why coffee shops have been around for hundreds of years and will be around for many more. Because no matter what new coffee product they put on the market, those things will never be able to provide what coffee shops do, an experience.